I got to unmute myself first. We are live here on Plus One Exp's Roll for Content channel. My name is Tony Vicinda. I'm Chief Alchemist here at Plus One Exp, and we're a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard and skincare alchemy, and the Bardic College of Content Creation. Our hope and desire is to help amazing designers find great players who love their games, and great players find amazing designers whose games they can love. We do that in a lot of different ways, but every couple of weeks I sit down and I go through some of the what I call latest and greatest, some of the favorite things, some of the things that have caught my eye as I'm cruising through different web stores or itch or Kickstarter crowdfunding sites, other places like that, and just kind of look through and talk about some of the cool things that I see coming out. Hopefully they're things that you might want to look at and support those creators. Hey Ben, who's watching over on YouTube, always good to have you with us. These are the latest games from the folks that I follow over on itch. We'll probably dive into a couple of them as we work our way through. As always, links are in the description on Facebook or YouTube, but you can pop over on itch or on Kickstarter for most of these projects today to check them out. We are going to dive right in with Iron Edda. I first heard about Iron Edda before the Reforged Season 1 packs that we're about to talk about originally, when it got played on One Shot podcast. Loved the entire playthrough of it, have been following it, and have gotten to know the creator Tracy pretty well. But let's check out the video on Iron Edda, which is a Cyberpunk Ragnarok zine podcast actual play experience that they're creating about the fall of the gods beginning in Jotunheim in a cyberpunk environment. Let's check out that video.
Of the gods, miles of bone, sinew, and synapse, torn from the bodies of dead giants used to feed the machine. It's time to tear it all down. The gods, their words, their works. Ragnarok is coming, and it's you, it's us. A neon Fimbulwinter where we rise up and take the gods down. And it starts here, in Jotunheim. So, you in? Iron Edda Reforged, Season 1, Jotunheim.
All right. Love it. Super excited about it. Love a lot of the crew that's working on this. So it's a little bit of a different project than what we normally covered, but it's a very cool project that I would love to see more people creating content like and around. That's why I want to share it with y'all, encourage you to check it out. So Ragnarok is coming, and it's you. They spoke with sweet words. They said, work hard enough and you'll have it all. They showed you images of a life you could lead, wealth, family, comfort. They dazzled the world with ideas and dreams. That's the idea of the dream, all while doing everything in their power to assure that they would have while everyone else would have not. The gods told stories, wove tales, captured hearts and minds. They built power, their wealth, and they left everybody else in the dust. They still require the same sacrifices and devotion, but this time, instead of blood, they ask for attention and labor. They want for nothing, and still they want more. Such a great articulation of the cyberpunk reality and the devotional reality, and the way that these are going to get forged together in a new Edda. So every Iron Edda game has kind of three core elements. Ragnarok is happening and it's inevitable. Humanity fights Ragnarok by being bonded to the spirits of by bonding the spirits of brave people to bones, and the spirits bones and spirits to dead giants. So humans get turned into these giant-like mech-like creatures, the bone bonded. Everyone belongs to one of 9 warrior clans, and there's kind of the elements of it. There are classic Iron Edda things where that you're actually like in kind of Norse mythology space, and you're summoning these giant bone mechs and fighting. Iron Edda Reforged is kind of pushing that into this cyberpunk reality. It's very, very cool thing that they're doing, but a lot of what they're doing with this is not just creating gameable content, but it's a multi-pronged kind of game experience. So there's going to be a zine with the rules that you need to begin the story about the fall of the gods in Jotunheim in this setting. You can take down Mimir, Tyr, and Thor in the realm of the core network. There's going to be a behind the scenes actual play podcast that's going to take you through the play test process that they use to make the rules for that. So that's going to be B. Zelda, Alex Flanagan, and Jeff Stormer, who are people I absolutely love. So I love that they're taking their playtest experience, that they recorded it, they produced it into this podcast that you can consume. And then in the bubble is a fully produced video actual play of the rules found in Jotunheim. It's going to be airing on the One Shot Network, so YouTube and Twitch channels. It's going to be produced by Tracy, who is the creator of the game. And it's going to have B. Zelda, DJ, and Danny, who are going to be playing it. It's a very, very cool concept that's leaning into a lot of things I really, really love about what I love to see people doing more with their games. Not just saying, here's the game and you can play it, but creating content that walks you through that and creating content that's enjoyable to consume that teaches you how to play. It's a big part about why we do what we do here on the channel. And I'm super excited about it. There are a lot of bins in the chat over on YouTube right now. We have 3 bins in the chat on YouTube. Shout out to all the bins out there. No matter what your last name is, no matter whether you go by Ben or Benjamin, super excited to see y'all in the chat. It's just a really cool concept. And so they did a live stream with Spencer Campbell on the day that Slayers dropped, which we're going to talk about Slayers in just a little bit, and kind of demoed through it. It's a very cool concept. I love a lot of the team involved in this. Again, I would encourage you, go check them out. If you're looking for a phenomenal kind of mech meets Norse mythology meets cyberpunk setting, Iron Edda Reforged is going to be phenomenal. But this additional content is something I would love to see more people supporting this type of creation that really fleshes out what people want the world to deal with. But yeah, Day of the Circus, like you just said, it's really cool take on the whole genre with some amazing people involved. So if you haven't yet, please go check out Iron Edda Reforged Season 1. Very, very excited. By the way, I'm pretty sure if Tracy sees this later and I misspeak about any of this, I apologize. Somebody else had published Iron Edda. Tracy actually did the work to get their game Iron Edda back from somebody who had the rights to it, and has been doing a lot of development in this. It's really cool to see an owner get kind of creative control of their game back from a publisher and be able to push it in completely new directions. And so again, if you're able to go support this project, I really encourage you. It's Iron Edda Reforged Season 1. A lot of very cool things happening here. And if you're a creator, great project to watch, to think about other things you might want to do when you're building your content, not just the zine, but do you want to produce an actual play? Do you want to showcase different things? What kind of other things can help you build and showcase the universe and can get an audience excited about the game content and ready to play at their table? Great concepts that are being explored here. King Tut's Rootin' Tootin' Weird Western Extravaganza from Planet X Games. This actually, for me, I think we're going to try to play this weekend. Kicked off a whole reflection on what it's like to play OSR in the Western genre or Weird West spaces and what that means on Indigenous People Day last Monday. I just tweeted out, like, is it ethical or moral or good or acceptable to create in a Weird West or Old West space? Because I was thinking about creating like a little hack for this game, like a little backbone system that we could use to play it on stream with Levi. But the more I thought about it, the more complications I have. One of the things I love about Planet X Games and about Levi Combs, they actually they work in the OSR space a lot, and they take a lot of the things that are problematic about OSR historically, and they address it in some very considerate and conscious ways that just naturally flow out of Levi as an inclusive person who always builds like great diverse teams. But the West is such an interesting space to play in. Anyways, it was a great conversation on Twitter, which I know is a very rare thing to say. Go check out @Plus One Exp on Twitter. There's some great notes in that if you're ever thinking about creating in a Old West or Weird West space that hits a wide range of what makes it work or not. So this is like I said, a Weird Western kind of genre thing. It's very gonzo. It's very bizarre. It's very grindhouse, over the top kind of vibe, which is everything Planet X always does. And so Planet X is back with an all-new zine dedicated solely to resources for your wild, weird West role-playing game. It's going to be a 48-page zine-sized print. It's always, because Planet X works with Exalted Funeral, it's always going to be distributed and available through them. So you're going to be able to get it there afterwards if you missed the campaign for whatever reason. But a lot of really amazing artists that have been pulled together for it. Cheese Hasselberger, Lawrence Hernandez, Jay Shields, as always. They're not doing any stretch goals this time around, just the whole thing comes out at once. I want you to get a little bit of the sense of this art, right? So it's very much this high fantasy / gonzo fantasy injected into, with some Western themes injected into it. It's really the space that this is playing around with. So it's not trying to evoke the isolation or the survivalist aspects of the West. It's going straight into that kind of over the top vibe that Planet X does so well. Here are a couple of different art pieces, some of the different things that you can kind of expect to see. Again, a lot more of like the horror genre feel injected into the West than anything else. And so it's going to be chock full of resources for Weird West games, whether you're playing traditional Old West shoot 'em ups from the early days of gaming, where you're robbing stagecoaches with fancy new rules. This is basically just designed to make your game weirder. So we've got some downright sinister fella, them places that were damned, Miss Kitty's Roadhouse, the bordello of monster girls, Dr. Solomon Porter's Weird West Dime Store Museum and Traveling Roadshow, Forsaken Jim Jam's Unusual Gigas and other creepy objects from the Weird West, all fairs and a fist fight and gunpowder, perks and drawbacks of the Old West. Some really just interesting concepts. I'm really hoping I can get Levi on to talk specifically about some of the different elements that go into his process as he creates things. I just think he is it's always really cool to see how he approaches a lot of the question marks that were kind of left in early OSR spaces. It doesn't just like avoid them or erase them, but kind of steps into them in just a very conscious way. So at least perceptively, I could be wrong because I haven't ever talked to him about it, but it is one of the things that I love about the way that Levi approaches design. But plus just all the visuals, all the crazy weird things, like I'm super in love with it all the time. So if you have not had a chance to yet, please go check it out. Some really, you can get the PDF, the physical, or you can get the retailer level if you want to carry it in your store. So go check out King Tut's Rootin' Tootin' Weird West Extravaganza over on Kickstarter right now. Next up, we've got Our Haunt by Jammy. And it's being done with Possum Creek Games. So Jamie is an RPGC creator, and therefore, because most countries in the Philippines, most countries in RPGC, Southeast Asia, can't run on Kickstarter, they almost always have to work through an American or some other country as a partner organization. So this is being done with Possum Creek Games. It's run by Jay Dragon, who I absolutely love. I'm very excited about this. We're actually playing Cozy Town, one of Jamie's other games. It's on itch right now. That's in the process of itch funding tonight here on stream. So come back for that at 8 p.m. Eastern time if you want to. We've got a couple of RPGC creators. It's the first stream we have where I'm running the stream, but I'm not playing in the game. I just kind of stepped back, do some behind the scenes stuff, run the game, welcome everybody just like normal, but hand it over to them to play. I'm super excited about that and hoping I can have some other people start running stuff on stream more regularly. That's a different thing. That's Cozy Town. That's tonight at 8 p.m. Our Haunt is a creepy, cozy TTRPG about a found family of ghosts in their haunted home. We are ghosts. We are in a house we don't recognize. We have a handful of memories, and these memories are brief moments and flashes of barely something. The living are nearby, and they encroach on our space, making their demands. Worse, there's a thing in the walls. It is ancient and human, hungry, yearning, and angry. But our haunt is now. This is our home, and we only have each other as family. If we take care of each other, good things will happen. We just know it. So it's a GM-less, inspired by the Belonging Outside Belonging system, inspired games like Dream Askew and Dream Apart, Wander Home, and a number of others. It's a rules light engine with no dice, no masters, which focuses on how you pass tokens around the play space through a series of moves. So in Our Haunt, there's a number of playbooks. The Loved, who remains in the world hoping that they will find their lost love. Other ones like The Return, who has seen the worlds beyond death and is here to spread the word. Or The Cat, or the ghost of a cat wandering around the halls among extreme humans. Each of these will have different moves that help them earn tokens, or some that they have to expend tokens on. It's just a very cool system. I love every belonging outside belonging game I've had a chance to sit down and play. I think that Possum Creek does phenomenal job developing these games. And Jamie is a tremendous designer, so I can't wait to see this. Hopefully, we can get Jamie back on stream later on in the month for a play of this. We'll see if we can get it up. You can also check out the first edition over on itch right now if you want to go ahead and check it out. It's available, but also the art is gorgeous and tremendous. Check out this cat image, right? Like, just killer. You've got it's a 100-page half-letter size black and white book with text by Jamie and art by Habil Furtus, I think. That's how I'm going to pronounce that. You can do PDF or you can get a print copy of it. They've got the whole team down here. Dominique, we've seen in a couple projects today. They are doing a phenomenal job helping see some of these projects come to light. Really, really phenomenal team. You've got a couple things going on here. One, I really want to say you've got that great $1 level, right? But you also have, this is something we see really commonly, a low income PDF, right? So saying if you can't afford the full price of the normal PDF, we're going to go ahead and put a low income piece on here so that you can get it a little bit cheaper. I think if you're somebody who's thinking about backing the game and really can't afford to, always consider this coming in. It's also something interesting for designers to consider, is putting these pledge levels in here, right? So then we've got the $25 level, which is the PDF and the paperback. You've got the Betrayed, which is a PDF, paperback, enamel pin, and t-shirt. Yes, there are t-shirts in this one. It's the level that I'm eyeballing, but I may go up a level because I've spent too much money on crowdfunders in the last month, but I certainly will be back in this one. Some other stuff in here also too, extra enamel pins, other things like that, and then retail, wholesale, and a couple of high level tiers as well. The doll, their very high level tier is a you can acquire a genuine haunted doll from somewhere in the world and they will send it to you. So some very cool things. Go check out our haunt. Absolutely amazing team. Love the crew over at Possum Creek. So please go support this project because it's a phenomenal designer, phenomenal publication house. If you want to we're probably going to talk about it a little bit tonight. If you come back again, we're going to be playing Cozy Town by Jamila tonight also too. So come on back for that. Let me go back up. We've got Smoking Worm issue 4. It's a zine exploring the world of Dungeon Crawl Classic with new patrons, classes, magic, and more. This is the 4th in a series. They put them all out, I think, over the course of the last year. And I would love to see more things along this line in both the OSR but indie space. People who are coming alongside a system or a popular system or a couple systems and creating Gazette content for that, basically. So you've got from here, it's to fund 2 items. You have the Tales from the Smoking Worm issue 4 and the Smoking Worm Monographs volume 1, number 1. We're going to check that out a little bit more also too. So it's a fanzine that is focused on not just the role-playing game, but specifically the world and other content that has been created for DCC over the course of the past 40 years, kind of diving into that, exploring that. They focus on DCC, but it can be translated into a lot of different systems because DCC is easy to do. Things we're going to see in this one, we're going to see some more stuff on Trolls, some stuff on Luck, Familiars, Culpepper's Herbal, more herbs for your game. This time we feature 2 herbs, the Black Adder and Angelica, that you can look at how they incorporate into your game. Organizations, the Perturvians Potted Meat, if you're deep underground without easy access to the surface and the fresh markets above, how do you survive? Perturvians Potted Meat covers 6 different preserved meat products that can prolong your life in the hardest of places. Very cool. The Onward Retainer starting the Legion. It's a comic series that they've had going through the whole thing. And then Worm Wards, which is a kind of a puzzle piece that they've put in the back here also. 60 pages. You got that classic kind of zine size to it also too. They've got a limited risograph edition, and then we're going to look at the Smoking Worm monograph. So it's 18 terror-sized, double-sided NPC cards with art like this. Look at that. Look at that. So if you want some NPC cards to be able to kind of just insert into your game, that's what they've got going on there. Very cool project. Always love when we can support that team. Day of the Circus just got a copy of DCC. Great game, great system. Love playing it. A lot of people don't play past, like they'll play a funnel adventure and that's where they'll stop. Like the funnel adventure aspect of DCC is great, but getting up into higher levels is an absolute blast. Also. Game I'm super excited about. I just finished writing my review for it. Got to record my review for it tonight so it can come out at the end of the week or early next week. We've got the Slayers Almanac. Slayers Almanac is a setting book of maps and districts from the Slayers RPG written in collaboration with designers from across the indie RPG scene. So Spencer Campbell is the lead creator on this, is the designer of Slayers, but the content in the book is actually going to be 10 different designers who are not Spencer who are creating stuff for Slayers. Slayers is a monster hunting game of asymmetrical combat. So every class has its own way of doing combat and its own set of combat rules, all of which are built around the very simple mechanic of on whatever die you roll and you want to roll higher than a 4 in order to succeed. The way character creation works is swift and easy, but every single time you sit down to do it, every time you pick a new class, you're going to learn a new way that your class engages in combat. And that's a very, very cool vibe. We played it last week on stream. We actually all picked third-party classes that were inspired by Final Fantasy, so we had some heavy Final Fantasy vibes to our creators. To our play. You can go check that out over on our channel too. If you want to click on the link below to go over to our YouTube channel, you can check out the Slayers game that we played. But the art is gorgeous for this that I've already seen. We've got a couple of layout spreads that we've been able to kind of highlight. But basically, the setting for Slayers, each has the city, which is this big endless expanse, is made up of districts. Every district has its own flavor, its own vibe, its own feel. So we were leaving a noir district and coming into Wicker Park, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. So I'll kind of save off on that. But it was this kind of fiery, ashy place. But here are some sample spreads of what you can expect. This is the Slayers Row district, which has, like the Slay-a-While, which is a place for Slayers to hang out, a place they can sell flesh and other items that they've harvested off monsters. Just some really cool threads. And each one's going to be, here's a little bit about the district. Here's some maps of some key locations and some open spaces. And again, they're all part of this big sprawling city. So it's very cool. So who's involved with this project? Juno Baker, Logan Dean, Jay Dragon, Josh Hitty, Angela, I'm going to start messing up people's names now. Lemu Mongrove. Probably did a horrible job. Angela did all the classes that we had played on the stream the other night, though. We've got Luna, we've got Jessica, we've got Kevin, we've got Sharu, and we've got JR. So we've got all these amazing people who are contributing different districts with very different vibes. Logan's is the graveway that passes underneath all the other districts. And it's where the city's dead hang out. Juno has a half-living, half-ancient solar punk archive. We've got Jay is doing the Illard Enochian, which is a district that was old when the city was young. It's a massive geometric cubes, somber markets winding around stone staircases, and the darkness that is heavier than life and death. All kinds of just very cool things that are absolutely awesome, and a lot of different cultural districts that are going to get incorporated in the city. They're all absolutely amazing. The system it's also like nothing in the books of districts is specific to Slayers. Like it's all part of the city. It's all part of the Slayers universe. But if you're somebody who runs any kind of city space or any kind of city crawl, like if you wanted to take this stuff and run Down We Go stuff through it as a hex crawl, you could do that. Any type of system that has a hex crawl in it, you can take the Slayers districts and just plop them down. So whether you're OSR, indie, anything you're doing exploration or looking for cool settings, it's going to be a phenomenal book that's fairly system agnostic. Part of this process is also going to be the update to Slayers 1.5, which is just a refresh of the rules. Nothing substantive is changing, but it's getting a full edit, a lot of clarifications, and some additional rule pieces that are coming in. If you've already bought Slayers, you're going to automatically get that. If you haven't got it yet, don't go buy it over on itch right now. Go back the campaign, and as soon as the campaign ends, you're going to get Slayers 1.5. But we've got all new original art. A lot of great things coming. There's no stretch goals at this point in time. Just really focused on doing it. I love how clean and easy Spencer's games play. Really, really want to encourage people to go check this out. You can also check out our actual play of it from last week over on the channel, but I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. Also, we're doing time-wise. I got to speed up a little bit. Next, we've got Fight with Spirit, a sports drama RPG. We've seen a lot of sports RPGs come out over the course of the last few months, which this one caught my eye because it's a company that I like and follow. I haven't really looked in depth at it yet, so we're going to find out more about it together. Let's check out the video, but it's now funded. It's got 12 days to go, and let's find out more about Fight with Spirit.
That summer, we made a promise. To leave with no regrets. This year we'll give our all for each other. The fight for the top begins. Fight with Spirit.
This is my team, and I'll fight for it no matter what they say.
You really think you can beat me? Let's go head to head.
It's never the right time to tell you how I feel. Can we play together when there's so much unsaid?
I'm glad you're all here with me. Let's do this together.
Hi, I'm V. And I'm Haley. And we're the creators of Fight with Spirit, a sports drama RPG.
Fight with Spirit follows a sports team growing up and fighting for their passion. It combines high-stakes sports action with all the drama of a sports anime or TV show.
In this game, you'll choose your team.
All right, so we only give people a minute, though I do want to go back and finish this. I think it's a really, really well done thing, but I want to dive into it. It is Story Brewers, which Penny for a Tale mentioned. They absolutely love. I love what Story Brewers do. They did Good Society, which is the Jane Austen role-playing game. They also did the little box RPGs. They do a lot of really cool RPG concepts that play in a very different space than almost anyone else. They constantly hit these themes in these places that are unique and fresh, but very evocative, and things that we're familiar with, but wouldn't necessarily think about for an RPG. So we've got Fight with Spirit. We're looking at a slightly different presentation model here. Also, we've got a lot of these card pieces that are going to come out. And again, I think that growth, they think about design and placement in a very different ways. We see cards and prompts weigh very heavily in their games. They've won tons of awards over the course of the last few years for all of their games. But you're going to take your team to the top in this sports drama RPG. Fight with Spirit is a collaborative tabletop role-playing game about sports teams growing up together and fighting for their passions. In this game, you'll hone your skills, face down rivals, and strike to take your team to the national championships. Along the way, you'll explore friendship, feelings, and the fleeting nature of your time together. Fight with Spirit is built to tell sports stories inspired by anime such as Free, Run with the Wind, and I mean, I'm going to mispronounce the name, Chahayafuru, maybe, as well as high school movies like Bring It On, Remember the Titans. But Fight with Spirit is system flexible and isn't limited to everyday college or high school. Use it for wizarding competitions like the Triwizard Tournament, or set it in history like a league of their own. So a lot of different ways you can play. 3 to 4 players plus a facilitator. Got this really great spread of the cards here. Gifts like this are a great way to show, don't tell. You can play it now. You can grab the quick start, which will pop up again in just 1 second. If you're new to role playing, they've got some stuff there, and then explained for new role players. Videos like this are incredibly helpful. Even people who are experienced role players, it's really helpful to be able to see things. We've got kind of a highlight of the gameplay as we go through here. Again, I'm always so impressed by everything Story Brewers puts together. Let's check out the pledge levels real quick. They're based out of Australia, so we've got access to the pledge manager later, financial hardship for a digital copy. You've got the digital edition, which is the PDF, the digital card pack, and all digital stretch goals. They've got a retailer version, and then they've got the boxed set, which is weighing in at 89 AU, which is about $65 American. It's everything you need to play the game. So you get all the digital pieces plus the box set, and then you can also get 2 Fight with Spirit box sets. So really cool game, really cool concept. You can use it to simulate these kind of team sports currently, but they're looking at individual sports and asynchronous sports also too at higher up stretch goals. It's funded. There's 12 days to go. Would love to see your support for this amazing project over there. And again, we've got all these tutorials. So if you want to know more about how this specific mechanics works, I really encourage you to go check it out. Again, they've got that quick start up right now you can get for just popping them over your email, letting them know you want it, and they'll send it over to you. So go check it out if you want to. Last one we're going to look at on Kickstarter before we hop over to Itch, though, is we've got Chew. Let's check out the video.
From the award-winning New York Times best-selling image comic series, Chew, the role-playing game. A foodie crime drama built on the fiction-first rules of Forged in the Dark. Play quirky, over-the-top characters recruited by the most powerful law enforcement agency in the world, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. 5 years ago, the world changed. The bird flu killed over 100 million people. Chicken was outlawed. It was the FDA jurisdiction. No one could have prepared us for what would come next. Chicken smuggling, egg dealing, and food-powered criminals. And then, shit got weird. Can you balance the demand of your job and the needs of your family against the fate of the world? Sit down.
I'm gonna let the video run the whole way through.
And find out. A foodie crime drama about cops, crooks, cooks, cannibals, and clairvoyants in a clucked-up world. Back now. And remember, chicken is doomed.
All right, I let it run through because I love Mitchell and they're here watching it right now, but also because it's a good video. It's not my first time watching it. So we've got Pete Petruska, who's the creator, but we've also got them partnered with Weave the Tail and Penny for the Tail. Penny for a Tail, which says they heard it's really good, and it's like the best ttrpg on Kickstarter right now. But I absolutely love a lot of the folks who are involved in this. I'd heard of Chew before this had launched, but I've loved getting to kind of dive into the Chew universe. I've got to play this game once already. We're going to try to schedule an actual play in the next week or two. I did see your message, Mitchell. I know I owe you a response to that, to get it all set up, because I'm a big fan of the game itself, the structure that's been created. I had a blast playing it. Can't wait to play some more. But it's based on an award-winning image comic, a New York Times bestseller, and it's going to be coming to a game table near you. You can take a bite out of crime in this foodie, dark comedy tabletop role-playing game about cops, crooks, cannibals, and clairvoyants in a clucked-up world. They're using the Forged in the Dark system, so you've got a team of people who are kind of bonded together. You've all been kind of recruited by the FDA, pulled into this world. You all have very interesting background abilities and other stuff like that. I played as as the mascot, but I think I was a chud, which is, it means I was a food engineered organism that was part bear, but part graham cracker, I think, was the way that I had played my character, who was also a celebrity chef. And so it was kind of a super fun kind of just way to dive in. But I had connections to some of the different food around me in some very interesting ways. But all chicken is illegal in the world. Bird flu had broke out. And so the USDA, U.S. Food and Drug Administration, was now the most powerful law enforcement agency around. You get food-based powers. So a lot of the different things that you can do are connected to food, whether that's tasting something and knowing more about it, whether that's cooking in a specific way, being made out of something, being able to make something out of food. All these different things kind of come into play. But it's been absolutely amazing. it's a very, very cool thing. And if you like Forged in the Dark, Forged in the Dark is very streamlined, excellent for an narrative play. We even split the party during our session of it, so we got to build tension off of what was happening on either side of the screen. Very, very, very cool things. And I would love to have people go check out this project if you have not yet. It's an absolutely phenomenal exploration of an IP. It's also using, again, a system that I absolutely love. And I feel like the way it was written allowed the negotiation for position and effect to feel a lot more seamless than Blades. So if that part of Blades always felt really complicated to you, at least the playtest materials I got made that feel a lot more natural. Yes, right. Sorry. Benny Verdell says because it's the best TTG on Kickstarter, right? Right. Yes, it is one of the best Kickstarters on the platform right now. So the other cool thing that we didn't get a chance to do, but I am very excited about, is you kind of can make a corkboard in play of all the different kind of crazy theories you're tracking through the whole process, which is a very cool way to play. Here we go, the corkboard series. Each game of Chew begins with the department head briefing the team on the new case. Each boss has their own unique way of handling instructions to communicate with their team. The players start with a goal in mind to solve the crime. Using the investigative campaign corkboard, the GM places the PCs, their case goal, and 3 details they're working toward to resolve the case. They do it by placing post-it notes on the board, and then you start adding like articles and theories and other stuff like that, and you're drawing lines, you're doing all this other stuff. It's a very, very cool process for play that I just think is a really great fun trope to play on that makes a great physical tool in the middle of the play space. So go check it out. Again, we've got some absolutely great levels. So the Szechuan sauce, which is all the PDFs. You got chicken nuggets, core book plus all the PDFs, both book plus all PDFs, or the Cluckin' Good Time chicken and waffles, both books, plus campaign corkboard, plus bucket of chicken dice, plus pad of color change character sheets, plus FDA badge pin. Get a trade paperback that's delectable fit for your Chew collection, and a matching hardcover for your Forged in the Dark collection. That's all very, very cool. It's a very cool go big pledge level. It's actually pretty affordable for all that stuff. So you've also got these next couple of levels up. So much good stuff. The Philly Chog steak is in there. You get a Chog hat. You get to create a faction. You get to do a lot of other stuff. So just so many good things. If you've got to go check it out and check out some of the amazing kind of playbooks on stuff also. So that's Chew. Go check it out over on Kickstarter right now. Over on Drive-Thru RPG, we talked about this during Zine Quest. Dodeca, which is a D12 inspired kind of OSR feeling RPG, is out. It's available. You can get the digital right now. There's a lot of the process of building characters as you go through this. You get a couple of different narrative prompts for your character to help build their legend, figure out who they are, and then play in the universe. It's a very cool system. The art on it's absolutely amazing. It's very quick to play, but you do a lot of world building right at the beginning. We're talking to the creator Pete about getting a session up in November of this game also, but it has launched from Garblag Games over on Drive-Thru RPGs, and I know they'll have physical copies available later as well. Let's hop over to Itch real quick with a little bit of time that we have left. We're going to talk about Wicker Park. So I mentioned this earlier. I mentioned Wicker Park when we were playing, when we were talking about Slayers RPG. So this is by Gila RPGs. We've got a double Gila backer quest here. This is the setting we played in. This is the district we played in. Wicker Park is a district of the city, a neighborhood of fire and ash. An ever-burning bonfire sits at the center of the district. Some say that if the bonfire goes out, the district dies with it. It's a setting supplement for Slayers. It's a description of the district that is a powder keg ready to explode. 2 factions at war with each other. NPCs that will attempt to lure the Slayers to their side. Rumors to entice the Slayer into the district and unravel its secrets. Stat blocks for a beast drawn to the flames of war in Wicker Park, the Mothman, who we fought. It's by Thomas Novoso. You can find their art over on Patreon, and if you aren't supporting Thomas on Patreon, you absolutely should be, because they have a ton of amazing stock art that you can use even in commercial projects over there. Yeah. So if you back also Spencer on Patreon, you can get this. But this is the district we played in the other night on stream. It was an absolute blast. There's some heavy stuff happening there. Go check it out. Speaking of graphics for your games, I want to draw your attention to two folks who are doing some really cool graphic work right now. Next, one is Lone Archivist, who is a good friend of mine. I think we're going to be doing some work with them on our Through the Void campaign coming up, which is our space hack of Down We Go. But it's a collection of over 24 graphic assets and vector elements that you can use for building computer displays in your games. If you're doing a game with a lot of digital backgrounds or computer layouts and other stuff like that, it's a great piece for that. It is an absolutely great bundle. You get it for $4 right now, and it's got over 27 different vectored files that are easy to use with Affinity or Publisher. If you're building graphics, designing your own games, go check this out. The other one I want to talk about is Feral Indie Art Studios Dungeons and Delves pack. I need to go pick this one up still, actually. But it's 20 spot illustrations depicting a range of ruins and dungeon settings. All of Feral Indie's graphic packs are excellent. They're excellent. I would encourage you to check out any of them. We've got the End of the Weird and Wild one, Dungeon Delves, the Astro Gothic, the Delvers and Glory Secrets, Black Metal in a Doom World. Excellent tools to use to build out your own small projects or even large ones. I'm just a big fan of the model that they do, and a lot of their stuff's on sale right now. So if you're a designer, go check out what Feral Indie is up to. It's a really phenomenal thing. Sealed Library There's Ghosts in Them Their Rooms out. Welcome to the Ashcan release of There's Ghosts in Them Their Rooms. You're running a last-minute Halloween one-shot and need an adventure. You're running a regular sword and sorcery fantasy campaign and want to do something a bit more investigative. You're running a longer investigative game and want a fun side quest while one of your players is on holiday. Well, haven't you heard? There's Ghosts in Them Their Rooms. A generator made to inspire investigative haunted house dungeons live at the table. It's part of the Halloween Spooktacular bundle. We'll pop over and check that out in just 1 second. But I love the work that Sealed Library does. I love the way that Matt thinks about games. Oh gosh, I love this itch page also too. It's been since I've seen that header. I think about the way that Matt designed these games a lot when I run games, and I think about the games he designs a lot when I run games. Everything, Glittering Hordes, We Sail Beyond, and Have You Heard About the Beast? Have you heard about the Beast? I think should be required reading for all GMs. I think you'll learn something about running games when you make them, and they embrace a lot of what I look for when I design and run games. I expect very similar things from There's Ghosts in Them Their Rooms, specifically in the realm of how do I create specters for the games that I want to run, and how do I create investigative spaces around those mysteries. So I love it. It just came out. It's the Ashcan version, but go throw a couple bucks at it to show Matt that you wanted to get developed. And if you're running a Halloween one-shot or a couple Halloween games, pick it up and let people know about it. Let's see. What else do we... Oh, wait. Because this is the bundle. So we've got Basic Witches, Familiar, Unfamiliar, No Glimmer Through the Night, The Walls Will Swallow You, Lichcraft, The Hunted, The Forest That Knows Your Name, which is very, very good. So is The Hunted, so is Lichcraft. I mean, I'm sure these other ones all are. So The Vampire Next Door and Bar the Windows, Bolt the Door is a very cool game as well. So go check out these amazing games. You can get them all right now for $20. Last one we're going to talk about, because I meant to cover it when it was on Kickstarter and I didn't have time to, and I hit follow for Pixel America, the creators, is Crowns. Kill monsters, raid dungeons, get rich, and try not to die. Humanity hides in sheltered villages. Monsters prowl the wilderness. You are the few foolish enough to leave safety. Find your fortune in the dungeon and try not to die. 2 to 10 players, which is a very high count for RPGs. The best plans do not always involve the dice. They rarely involve the dice. Very, very lean character sheet here. The game is part of the OSR Old School Renaissance. It includes rules for 14 enemies, which each has six subtypes, 36 feats, exploring dungeons, building up warbands, 16 spells, a system for handling social encounters and intimidation, putting together adventures, campaigns, and factions in conflict, character sheets, condition pieces, and arts and craft inventory system. What makes it different? A unique combat system, highly encouraging secondary actions alongside generic attacks, allowing for essentially backup actions in case a player attack misses. A simple monster system that uses one attribute for all roles to cement a monster's power level, and has simple rules for monsters that go beyond the scope of 4 adventures. It requires a greater focus to deal with, like dragons. An advancement system that encourages the spending of money recklessly and rewards a player for it. And a healing system that takes time to recover from grievous wounds, making games take longer and appear more realistic, however, not limiting the players to bed during their recovery time. So there's other stuff that's still coming out. This game is still in development. It's not released yet. They did a Kickstarter for it, but it's an absolutely gorgeous title, and I just have really loved watching it develop. I'd highly encourage you to go check out Crowns if you have not yet. That said, we are always looking for new games to cover here on BackerQuest. If you've got a game coming out over the course of the next few weeks, please let us know, or even if you got one coming up further out. If you want to support us, the best way to do that is actually to head over to kofi.com/plus1exp. There's a link in the description of this video, or down below if you're watching on Twitch, and become a monthly supporter of the stream, or just give a one-time thing. All of our digital copies of our games you can get over there, but if you want to buy something from us, you can go to ttrpg.link/toaster to pick up iToaster, but it'll also link you out to the rest of our games over on itch as well. Go check those out. Those are great ways to help support us in the work we do also, but you can get them for free if you support us over on Ko-fi also too, or at least the games that I make that I don't have any partners with. So games like Down We Go, that I have a publishing partner with, those don't go up for free. However, for all the rest of them, you can get them for free over on Ko-fi as they come out. With that said, I love you guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out in the chat. Thanks for watching with us. I hope you found something that you enjoy. Keep an eye out. Like I said, tonight we're going to be playing Cozy Town with Jammy. Later on this week, I think we're going to be trying to play the King Tut's Wild West Rootin' Tootin' Extravaganza, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not. We've got some other amazing games coming up over the course of the next couple of weeks, especially as we get deeper and deeper into the spooky season. Yeah. That's all the good things. Until next time, let's jam out to some music on the way out. Thank you, Dice Ghost. Good to see you.